Can you prove the death, resurrection of Jesus Christ happened without using the Bible?
Why would I use the Bible?
They're not empirical evidence.
Okay, give me the empirical evidence for logic.
No.
You're saying, you're making this claim. The only way that we can prove something to be true is with empirical evidence. Are you making that claim?
A miraculous quote-unquote claim? Yes.
Okay, so then you're special pleading. You just said, I cannot trust things that are written in a book.
No, I cannot trust supernatural things written in the book.
Okay, so special pleading
I can believe. No, I can believe that Jesus.
Special pleading again. You're saying we have a standard of things that a book can prove, but then there's these other standard of things a book cannot prove. Why?
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary.
What's up, bro?
Okay, so I've never met.
Just real quick, just state your age. I know you said it before, but I didn't.
35.
35?
Yes, I'm an atheist.
All right, go ahead. What's up?
I wanted to know what you believe in, why, and why anyone else should believe it.
I believe in Jesus Christ, the death and resurrection. I'm a Christian, and I think people should believe it because the historical evidence is pretty solid, and the philosophical foundations for believing in a God is stronger than an atheist perspective, for example. I don't actually think there is any good arguments for atheism.
Okay, well, I have a problem with your holy book because it makes specific claims disproven by modern science, like the global flood.
Yeah, so I don't believe in a global flood.
Oh, okay, so you're not a young Earth creationist?
No.
Okay, are you, well, it still makes specific claims like Adam and Eve. Do you believe in Adam and Eve?
I do believe in Adam and Eve, but I do believe in evolution.
That's contradictory with each other because
it's not contradictory. Do we have bingo for this topic? This topic comes up like 7 times a night. It's not a contradiction because the earliest Genesis story, it can be interpreted as poetic. This is not just me coming up with an apologetic. This is an understanding that dates back 2,000 years with the early church fathers. We can see this because of the way it's written. We see there's couplets between day 1, day 4, day 3, day 2, day 5, day 3, and day 6, and day 7 being the ending of the couplet. We see this through church fathers talking about how it must be understood as allegorical because of how the days are written. And we know that it's just a story that's trying to convey the fall of mankind. It's not giving us the ontology of the creation of the universe.
Okay, so how you said you believe in Adam and Eve, though? Like, did all humans come from a single pair?
So even science tells us that we're all related.
Does it say we come from a single human pair?
So they say they have mitochondrial Adam and mitochondrial Eve. They say mitochondrial and Adam and Eve didn't mate together, but we are all linked to them some way. I do think the science has.
I don't think you're answering my question.
I am answering your question.
No, I asked you.
I am answering your question.
No, you're not.
I am answering your question. You're asking, did we come from a specific pair? I am answering that question. Are you interested in hearing the answer?
I'm interested, but I mean, I don't feel you're answering it.
I'm going to answer the question. Just stop talking and you'll hear the answer. Fair?
Go ahead. Fine.
Okay. So science says that we come from mitochondrial Adam, mitochondrial Eve. These are not a coupling pair together. They have separation between the two of them. But I do think there's a lot of mystery in the science. And I do think there's a lot of mystery in the historic reportage model. There's some things that we have to just convey and throw up in the air and say, we don't really know.
Okay, but it doesn't say that we have come from a single pair.
Okay, you didn't listen. Appreciate you.
Okay. Well, you failed genetics class.
Just steel man what I said. Steel man what I said. Show to me that you actually heard what I said.
It doesn't make any sense. That's why.
Steel man what I said. Show me that you actually listened.
Yes, but the problem is I didn't hear a yes or a no.
Because I didn't give you a yes or no answer.
Can you give me a yes or no answer?
I can't because we ultimately don't know.
We do know. The answer is
no.
No.
How do we know? How do we know? Give me the exact data. Hold on. If you know for certain with unequivocal doubt, I want the exact data on how exactly we know we're connected to mitochondrial Adam and mitochondrial Eve. Go ahead.
We don't see anything like that in the genetic record. We don't see that.
What genetic record? You're just vaguely referencing something. Show me the genetic record.
Well, I can't show it to you on stream. I mean, you would need to go.
You can share the screen.
No, you would need to go talk to Francis Collins.
Who's Francis
Collins? You would actually, the head of the Human Genome Project.
Okay, so show me the data. Give me the data. Do you have any information? Or are you just appealing to what somebody else said to you?
Do you want me? Okay, I see a little problem here. Do you think I could actually stream the genetic record to you or something?
You can give me the actual information. You could say, well, it's posted in this book and this is what it says. And you can go through how they figured it out.
I would need to go show you the genetic record so I could show you. Look, here's the database. So I would say let's move from there. So I would say let's move on from there. The fossil record.
So what you're saying is you don't actually know. You just appealed to someone else's authority.
I would say the same thing to you, right? But the problem is you don't see
But
anything
you
like
did
that.
do that. You did just appeal to somebody else's authority and just said
Do
it
you
as
have a Nobel Prize? Do you have a Nobel Prize for your
even
research?
though you haven't looked at the information yourself.
Do you have a degree in genetics?
I don't have a degree in genetics.
Do you have a degree in
do you have a
biology?
degree in biblical studies?
No, I don't need one.
Well, I don't need one either.
Oh, yes, you do, because
Why do I need a
you're
degree?
claiming to know because you're claiming to know better. You claim to know more than the genetics. You claim to know more than the experts in the field.
You're claiming that there's a contradiction between science and biblical studies. Yet you don't have a degree in biblical studies. I'm saying there is no contradiction. You're saying I'm wrong because I don't have a degree in genetics.
Well, I mean, you're saying that you believe in the myth of Adam and Eve, that we come from a single human parent. We don't see that in any.
Again, I didn't say that. I said there's mystery to it.
But we do not come from a single human parent.
I mean, never made a claim. I never made a positive claim. You're straw manning me.
Okay,
you're building an argument that you want me to have so you can say, haha, look at the dumb Christian.
Okay, fine. Then let's move from that. If you don't believe in Adam and Eve, then let's move on from that.
I never said I didn't believe in Adam and Eve.
Okay, then I don't understand you. I really don't understand you.
I said there is mystery. We're talking about something that happened 6,000, 10,000, 15,000. We don't know how many thousand years ago. And it's not fully documented. Why should I have to know every detail and exactly how it went down?
So you're saying that this bottleneck happened like 6,000 years ago? Is that what you said?
I repeat what I said, or I'm going to move on. If you don't repeat it exactly, you're not showing a genuine conversation. I'm going to move on to the next one.
Well, you said you don't know if that had happened in 6,000 years, 8,000 years. You don't know. That's what you said.
No, I said 6,000, 10,000, 15,000 years.
Oh, sorry.
There's clearly a rhetorical goal here to say, I don't know how much time it is, right?
Okay, so why don't I just say, I don't know how much time it is? So you don't.
So I'm not allowed to speak rhetorically or use proper kind of conversation. You want me to speak exactly as a robot and only give you lawyer-esque conversation?
I actually prefer accurate answers, though, not vague answers.
It is an accurate answer if you actually pay attention.
Okay.
So all you have to do is focus, listen, and pay attention to what I'm saying, and not just have it built up in your chest what you think I'm going to say and what you're going to tear down, and we can have a real conversation, right?
Okay, but I wish you could have just told me yes or no. If it's a yes, yeah.
But cool. It's not a yes or no because it's I don't know.
Okay, fine. I don't know. Fine. Then let's move on from that. Can we move on from that?
Yes. God, please, yes.
Okay, so do you believe that monkeys and snakes can talk?
I do not believe they have the genetic ability to talk.
Okay, then why does the Bible claim that they do?
Because it's a miracle.
Can you prove that miracles are even possible?
Yes, through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Can you prove the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ happened without using the Bible?
Why would I use the Bible?
Because the Bible is a claim. It's not the evidence.
Right. Claims are evidence.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
I'll
prove it to you.
Okay, I'll prove to you that they're empirical evidence. No, they're empirical evidence. They're not empirical evidence.
Okay, give me the empirical evidence for logic.
No. No, you can't. No, I'm not gonna pivot to another point that makes no sense.
I'm not pivoting to another point.
Yes, you're pivoting.
You're saying you're making this claim. The only way that we can prove something to be true is with empirical evidence. Are you making that claim?
A miraculous quote unquote claim? Yes.
Okay, so then you're special pleading.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're special pleading. You're saying there's some things that we do not need empirical evidence for, but there's some things that we do need empirical evidence for. And then you're just saying miracles have to have empirical evidence. That is special pleading by definition.
Miracles need to have empirical evidence. Okay, what is the mechanism you have? What is the mechanism you have? What is the mechanism you have?
By definition, a miracle cannot be proved with empirical evidence because if it's empirical, it's testable and repeatable. If it's repeatable, it's not a miracle.
Then what mechanism do you have to be able to tell what's a miracle and what's not a miracle?
The historic reporter's model.
Okay.
So basically, we look at history, we look at the events of what happened in history, and then we weigh the probabilities. It's basically Bayesian. It's a Bayesian approach. So we look at the prior probability. What's the prior probability of somebody raising from the dead? It's very low. I think you would agree with that.
Right.
Okay, we start on that very low prior probability. Then we start looking at the evidence, and we see every bit of evidence that we start adding. Does it raise the probability or does it lower the probability? I think that there is enough evidence that raises the probability of the resurrection happening to say that this is the best conclusion with the data that we have.
Okay, that's still not a reliable method to be able to tell.
How's that not a reliable method?
No, it's different than something like evolution, which we can actually test, and we actually have theories for it. this doesn't sound like a reliable method. But not only that, how did you hand wave all the
you're
naturalistic
just
demonstrations?
vaguely referencing another thing and saying we have a method for that and saying this doesn't sound like a reliable method. Why is
No,
it
it
not
doesn't
a
sound
reliable
like-
method? Give me
Okay,
a specific critique to the method on why we can't trust it.
Okay, so there's people that have like other miracle claims from other religions, like Catholicism
Yes.
says like,
Yeah, that's
yes.
fine.
Okay, so how can we tell that this particular event from the Catholic Church, that they say it's a miracle, how can we tell that it's a miracle and another event is not a miracle?
We apply the same standard that we applied to the death and resurrection. We look at the events, we look at the probabilities, and we say, what is the best conclusion based off the events and probabilities? If the best conclusion is the miracle that happened, then we have to say that it's a higher probability that the miracle did happen.
But how did you hand wave all those naturalistic explanations for it?
I didn't hand wave anything. You didn't even give me an example.
Well, you mentioned the resurrection. How did you hand wave the resurrection, quote unquote?
Hand wave what? You're not even giving me anything. What am I hand waving?
You're claiming that a man rose from the dead. First of
Yes.
all, I want to know how you know that man rose from the dead.
Through the historic reportage model.
So you basically, all you have is a book says a thing, therefore God.
No.
Yes, you do. That's what I'm hearing. A book says a thing, therefore God.
Well, if that's what you're hearing, the issue isn't what I'm saying. The issue is in the intelligence or the education system. That's not my fault.
I'm not the one that has no STEM research or STEM understanding. Thank you.
So how do you determine anything to be true in history?
What do you mean?
Well, for example, do you believe Julius Caesar existed?
Yes, we have a lot of, because well, I don't know about Julius Caesar, but I'm pretty sure we have records for it.
Right. So somebody wrote it in a book,
right?
Oh, but I thought we couldn't trust that.
Okay, then they also have like supernatural claims for Jesus, like he rose from the dead or something, like he rose to heaven.
Well, no, but hold on. We're not even talking about supernatural. You just said I cannot trust things that are written in a book.
No, I cannot trust supernatural things written in the book.
Okay, so special pleading.
I can believe. No, I can believe that Jesus.
Pleading.
I can believe
again.
No, I can believe that Jesus, existed. I can believe that he died. I can believe he was crucified. But there's a giant astronomical jump to believe that Jesus rose from the dead and he's the Son of God. Besides, a book says a thing, therefore God.
Yeah, that's not what I said. Hold on.
Well, no, that's what I'm telling you.
Okay, so why do you believe Jesus existed?
Because the claim of someone existing is different than someone rising from the dead.
Okay, so you're just again special pleading.
No, I can. So
you're saying you are special pleading because you're saying there's enough evidence because a book says so to say that a person existed, but it doesn't prove miracles because books can't do that because books are not evidence. Claims are not evidence. That's what you said. You said claims are not evidence, right?
Correct, because a book is not going to be evidence for a miracle.
If claims are not evidence, then how do you know Jesus existed?
Because people exist all the time. That's an entirely different claim.
That's irrelevant to what I'm saying.
No,
how do you know he existed? How do you know he existed?
I actually don't know if he existed.
If claims are not evidence.
I actually don't know if he existed. To be honest, I don't know.
Do you believe he existed?
Yes, I believe he existed. I have no evidence.
Why do you believe he existed?
Because they wrote it in a book.
So, okay, so claims are evidence.
But the problem is that it's a different claim. There's a different amount of evidence that you need for a person existing, for a person being, the Son of God and rising from the dead. A whole different set of evidence needed for rising from the dead.
Yeah, so you need more evidence, correct?
Yes, and that evidence cannot come from a book says a thing that forgot. So do you have anything besides that? Does it say a book says a thing that forgot?
Why? So again, you're special pleading. You're saying we have a standard of things that a book can prove, but then there's these other standard of things a book cannot prove. Why? Why are you giving special pleading?
Yes, because a book cannot prove a supernatural event.
Why not? If it can prove someone existed,
because
why
people lie. Because people lie all the time. How do you know?
Sure, people lied, but hold on, pause.
Okay.
If it can prove somebody existed, why can't it prove that a supernatural event happened? Because
those are two entirely different claims. There's a difference between you getting a dog than you getting a dragon. I can care less if you get a dog.
That's not the question.
No. Stop avoiding.
You're not answering my question.
Stop interrupting me.
You're not answering my question. No.
Well, you did the same thing to me, so please stop interrupting me. There's a difference between getting a dog and getting a pet dragon. If you come and tell me I got a pet dog, I'm going to believe you. I don't care if you lie or don't lie about it. It's plausible that you can get a dog. If you tell me you got a dragon, there's an entire different set of claims that I can believe you, cannot believe you. So
you still didn't answer my question.
So prove to me without using the Bible.
You still didn't answer my question.
What didn't I answer?
So again, why is it that what a book writes can be a standard evidence for one thing, but not for another thing?
Because other religions have the same claims. Different. They have their own miraculous claims. So why do I have to believe your religion, but not the other religion's claims?
Right. You're still not answering my question. You're still not answering my question.
I just did.
My question isn't specifically about religion. My question is a question of epistemology, right? It has nothing to do with religion. If a book can prove a standard for one thing, why can a book not prove the standard for another thing? Has nothing to do with religion.
Because it requires so much evidence, much more evidence to make a claim.
You're still not answering the question.
Yes, I am.
I'm not talking about religion.
I just told you right now.
I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm not talking about a resurrection. I'm talking about the epistemology of evidence.
So much more evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Do you have extraordinary evidence?
Fine. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Give me the definition of extraordinary evidence.
I'm not sure.
Well, then how do you know we didn't provide it?
That's not my problem.
Well, you're saying, okay, so what you're saying is, I require a thing that I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't even know what a God is. I don't even know, so you would have to.
You just said extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I asked you what extraordinary evidence is. You said, I don't know. So you just provided something that's never, ever going to be able to convince you of anything because you don't even know what it is that would convince you.
Well, the problem is that, for example, God resurrecting from the dead is actually very different, but no, it's actually not that much different from a super advanced alien trying to fool us. So
right. Again, that's not what I'm arguing, right? I'm arguing the epistemology of knowledge or studying of history.
Mm-hmm.
If a book can prove one thing, why does it not prove another?
Because, like I said, other books have the same claims. You would have to have you have to believe those claims as well.
Okay, so fine.
All other religions have different claims, right? Different, like Muhammad says that the moon split in half.
Okay, right? So there's this historian.
So do I have to believe that one?
So for example, there's this guy who in Roman culture, I can pull up the names if you want. I just wrote it down. It's not committed in my memory. If you don't trust me, I can pull it up. There's a guy who tried to write a story of a miracle worker. He wrote it and he's trying to convey this message that this miracle worker actually exists. He actually did these things, but it was myth, right? All of history agrees when they're looking at this guy's specific writing that the person that he wrote it, even though he's trying to convey him as a real person in history, was not actually a real person. So we can see a book can try to convey a real person, but we can conclude that's not a real person, or a book can try to convey a real person and we can conclude it is a real person. So just because other people make other claims is not a standard of evidence. So again, I'm going to repeat the question. Why is it claims in a book is evidence for one thing, but not another thing?
Because I could put the same standard with other religions.
Okay, I'm very curious. Give me another religion that meets the same criteria that Christianity does.
Okay. Well, like I said, Islam says that the moon split in half.
Okay, so
Muhammad
Islam,
brought on donkey.
Okay, phenomenal. Islam says the moon split in half.
And that hundreds of people saw it.
Right. We have one document of that from one singular source.
A book says a thing.
Do we have any corroborating sources?
I have no idea.
Okay, so then it's not analogous to Christianity.
It is. It's completely analogous to Christianity.
No, it's not.
Yes, it completely is.
How is it?
Do you have it? Okay. Do you have any evidence that's not a book says a thing, therefore God?
So you're dodging my questions, and then
no, I asked
back to this other question.
Do you have any evidence that's not a book says a thing, therefore God?
So a book says a thing, therefore God. No, I think there's so if we're just talking about the existence of God, well, I'd use philosophical arguments for that.
Which is a book.
So for example, the evidence for God in a philosophical argument would be the teleological argument.
And arguments are not empirical evidence. So
yes, teleological argument uses empirical evidence to make its claims.
And none of the teleological argument does not mention God.
So, for example, in the teleological argument, it says that the strong nuclear force, if it was 50% stronger, 50% weaker, we wouldn't have a universe that gives life. Now, there's a whole bunch of things in this teleological argument that we can say if anything was stronger or weaker, it's that these different parameters. Why am I
parameters?
Parameters. Thank you.
Parameters.
Different parameters then we wouldn't have life. We wouldn't have the stability that we have. The probability of this happening is so low. It's the equivalent of getting a royal flush a billion times in a row if you deal it out. The probability is just extremely low that this would happen. Now you could say, well, that's just the way the numerator and the denominator. I'm not done. You could just say that that's just the way the universe is. Well, then there's some ad hoc arbitrary thing that sets limits to that. And that breaks contingency in the principle of sufficient reason that we use in science. So this uses nothing but empirical evidence to point to the existence of God.
Okay. Why doesn't it mention God or the God? There's a huge astronomical jump from that end of the argument to the God of the Bible.
So again, the historic reportage model gives us the God of the Bible.
So some people wrote some shit in the book, therefore God.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Goodbye.